welcome to what will be our first rendition of just a little podcast that me and the CrossFit B&A crew wanted to put together to talk about our team that just returned from the Granite Games. Members of the team for B&A that we have here is Morgan, Brian, and Darby. One of our other members who was on Team OPEX would be CJ. And as they returned from the Granite Games, a lot of our members had a lot of questions about what happened up there, just interesting questions. And so we decided, let's get together, put together a little video so we can spread the word about how proud we are of them and, you know, everything that went on up there. So got a couple of questions that are going to be for everyone, and then a couple of questions that are going to be given specifically to each individual person. So Darby, manager and coach and owner at CrossFit B&A. A lot of people just wanted to know what it was like getting up there and getting registered. What was your sign-in process that you went through?
I will say the Granite Games did a great job of accommodating all our registration. We had some people who were coming in a little bit later, some people who, Brian and myself, drove up and got there a little bit earlier. But between the hundreds of athletes that were competing, they had us in and out, signed up, shirts, goodie bags, all that fun stuff, ready to go very quickly. One of the coolest things about just that registration process is us as this being at least my biggest competition yet was registering in the same line as Alex Smith and all those top athletes, getting their name badges, getting their tags and everything, but in that same room with them was pretty cool, being on that same level there.
All right, same question. CJ, what was registration like? You were on Team OPEX, correct?
Yeah.
All right, who were your members that were with you on Team OPEX?
Yeah, so we have Trent Waltley and Garrett Farrell. They both work out at CrossFit Silver Dragon, but they get individual programming at OPEX Franklin. And basically, you know, we kind of did the similar route doing the Granite Games Throwdown earlier in that year. But as far as the registration process, just exactly like Darby said, as far as how organized it was, it was kind of surreal at first, just kind of checking out and seeing Christy Ermo. She's multiple CrossFit Games athlete just right behind me, seeing Sam Dancer, and just everybody just kind of just right there, just felt like holy crap, we're actually here. But yeah, after Darby told about the goodie bag, it was really cool. Like they actually wrote down your actual number like on the arm, just like how you would see it at the regional level. I just felt like it was really cool, really well-run event, and also just to be able to allow everyday fitness.
So this was a CrossFit Games qualifier, was it not?
Yeah, it was a sanctioned event, what they call sanctionals. And so they had different levels, so it's really cool that they allow whatever level of fitness you're currently at, you can basically compete at that, kind of get like a similar experience at the regional CrossFit Games level. They have the scale, intermediate, RX Plus, and then they have the pro division, which is actually for if you qualify, that's the level that you qualify for the games.
Okay.
My registration was nothing that cool. I was 15 minutes before the deadline, and no one was there. I was by myself.
No lines.
Different flight time next year.
Yeah.
So learned a lot about how to get registered for an event of this size. It sounds like it was well ran, well organized. Once everything got started and you got to do what you all were there for, you were there for working out. Morgan, go ahead and tell us what your favorite event was. And also for the people that do not know what that event was, if you say, oh, it was the worm carry or something, tell what the event was if you can remember the movements and weight.
Yeah, I think it was called the something mile.
Longest mile 2.0.
2.0. So we ran around the football field. It was all outside. We had to push a sled for 60 feet / pull a sled, and then had to do handstand walks to kind of finish that round. I think it was for 4 rounds. So we each got to put our handstand walks to use for the first time to comp, and that was kind of nerve-wracking, but we all did really well, so it's cool.
All right. Same question. Favorite event. Everybody, who would agree that the longest mile? Brian, what do you think? Would you agree with that, or you have a different one?
That was definitely my favorite event. I love handstand walks, but at the same time, leading up to the Granite Games, we did a lot of work on handstand walks, and it was really cool to get to see all of us do that, but especially Morgan really stepped up in that moment. So I just think in that event, was most proud of our team and our efforts there. So.
One of the things about that someone noticed as they watched the video was apparently during the handstand walks, did anything happen with Morgan where he might have fell into someone else's lane?
So if you watch the video, I mean, I was inches from clocking the dude in the head. I had no idea. I just got to do my thing. I came down, but
Did you and him ever meet after the event and talk and say, hey,
I never
sorry, I
talked
almost
about it.
blocked you? Or
that was actually the first place team. They won.
Yeah, I don't think he ever actually knew what was going on. It was one of those things like we didn't know until after the fact, watching some videos, and yeah.
you were just in the zone. Main thing is get done with the handstand walk.
I just remember the guy telling me to stay in your lane, and I'm like, oh, whatever. You know? I didn't realize how close I was.
All right, so we've gone over what would be favorite event. Now, hardest event. Darby, we'll start with you, then we'll go CJ, Brian, Morgan, Darby. Hardest event for you?
I would say the hardest event was definitely that first one. We don't have a worm, and literally the first event was 30 worm clean and jerks, which is just a long sandbag. This one was made for 4 people, but we had 3 people doing it. Then 10 rope climbs, 20 worm clean and jerks, 8 rope climbs, 10 worm clean and jerks, 6 rope climbs. And we went out there with a plan, and we picked up the first one, and it was like out the door. One at a time, whatever we can get.
And what was the weight? Obviously, you all do rope climbs. We can see them in the gym behind you. That's something you practice. But the worm, what was the weight on that distributed amongst 3 people?
So I want to say it was either 275 or 315. I'll have to double check. And each section had different weights, and we didn't know which weight was heaviest. We didn't know which weight was lightest. We just kind of went out there. We're like, this is the way we're going to do it. And we stuck with as much of what we could, and luckily we are, I would say, one of the stronger teams of rope climbs out there, so that kind of saved us in the end. But there is nothing that prepares you for that. So,
CJ, what did you think? Same event?
Definitely the same one. Just because as far as like the worm itself, and then on top of the fact of not having any chance to practice the transition, it's basically you have to be, the communication was super key. I mean, you had to be, not only, like Darby was saying, you don't really know where that weight's going to be dispersed. And so we heard in the warm-up area, we heard that the strongest person should be in the middle, which we quickly found out the strongest person should be out front. And so, Trent, shorter stature guy, he was, was on front. We did 2 rope climbs. We got no rep on the first 3 reps. And we quickly figured out, okay, like, dude, get in the middle, like, you're too short. And I guess I was one of the stronger ones, so I went up front, and then that's when we got in the rhythm. But I mean, we got time capped. It was such a hard workout, and then also the rope was a lot thicker than the typical rope, which was cool. But definitely
very unexpected. I don't think they warned us about the rope at all.
But then I would say the other part was the 14,000 meter row, which I think for that one, it was just you guys paced it perfect. For us, we did basically 500 meter intervals, which was way too much. So it was starting to build up lactic acid real bad. So we basically figured we all do 9 sets of 500 meters, which once you guys do that 300 meter on your set, it's like you're dying. Like you're trying to keep a 138 pace, and then it goes, 150, 158. You're like, all right, this is way, we shot it out this way too much. So.
Okay. Brian, hardest event, you agree the worm?
I definitely agree with the worm. It's just, whether it was 275 or 315, it felt like 450. It was just stupid, awkward, and heavy. And like you said, the rope was thicker, and we weren't expecting that. But every team capped that first workout, so I think that was definitely the hardest. And that may be why they changed the next worm workout. They kind of changed it from thrusters to just squats. But that workout, more people finished, but still, I think half the field capped it. But by the time we got to the second worm workout, we felt a little more comfortable with that for sure.
All right. Morgan, I'm guessing for you, the worm.
It was definitely the most difficult, but the one that got me the most was the lunges. So after the lunges, I literally collapsed as soon as I hit the last.
What do you mean after the lunges? Were the lunges in the same workout?
No, so it was it was out on the football field, and it was you had to carry. It was right after sprints. We had to do 200 meter sprints each, and then go straight into carry the worm down the width of the field, then pick it back up, and then go like
15 squats.
15 squats,
60-foot lunge.
60-foot lunge,
For
15
3 sets.
squats. You do it 3 sets.
And it was all synchronized, so we all had to be like right in unison.
Everything in the same unison. So the last set of lunges, my legs were shaking. I mean, it was awful. I was in the front, and my foot hit the red stop, and I just exaggerated, fell on the ground. It was awful.
Got in under the cap by 1 second.
Yeah,
Like-
that get up to walk away from that one, and it was just jello.
So it sounds like to me that an object that you all normally do not train with, everybody agreed, well, obviously we don't train with it. That's going to make it the hardest thing. Would you all say that's correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. No doubt.
All right. Well, a lot of people don't train with those objects, but for the objects that everyone does train at the same level, a lot of people are curious how they might do against people like you all that qualified for the Granite Games. So to give them a little bit of a insight on how they compare against you. I don't know how long it's been since each one of y'all done it, but if you do not have a current one, what was your last Fran or Grace time? Do you all happen to remember what you all do on a Fran or a Grace?
Grace? Is that the Queen's?
Yeah, Grace.
So Fran is going to be 21:59 of thrusters at 95 pounds for men and pull-ups. So I know mine, which was a long time ago, was 255 around there. And Grace, which we did not too long ago, is 150 to 155, something like that.
And what's the weight on those clean and jerks and how many reps?
135. So Grace is 30 clean and jerks at 135 pounds for men, 95 for the ladies.
And CJ, what's your time on either Fran or Grace that you can remember?
I have no idea what the Grace is, but Fran, I think it was last time, about a year and a half ago, it was like 312 for Fran. I don't remember the Grace, but
All right.
We did Grace probably about 6 months ago here, and I was 145. So that was.
Brian, let them know how many times you did Grace that day.
I did Grace 3 times that day because I was trying to beat Morgan, and he did it in 142. So I was kind of butthurt that I couldn't get that 3 seconds. But I'll try again someday when my knee's feeling a little better.
All right, Morgan. Grace time.
Mine was 142,
Cute
5
excuse.
seconds faster than Brian's.
I had a bum knee.
But I don't remember what Fran is. I think it's under 3, but I'm not sure.
All right, really interesting question. To switch it up from the weightlifting, from the events and stuff, a lot of people want to know, who did you meet, for lack of a better word, that is famous?
So I'll start. Met quite the stud. His name's Hunter McIntyre. He's everyone's favorite CrossFitter this year. He's the arrogant guy who got invited to the CrossFit Games because he has a lot of Instagram followers. But he's traditionally a tough mudder, obstacle race runner. Super cool guy, super nice, but everybody kind of hates him because he was invited instead of earned. So
Okay. Brian.
I will say, going into the weekend, I did not like that guy very much. But then I met him, and he was just very easy to like. Like, he actually took an interest in, asked us our pace on the row and stuff like that. Just seemed like a genuine dude. But I met Alex Smith. That was real cool. I met the Buttery Bros. I watched their YouTube videos. So it was just cool to meet some CrossFit personalities. Heber Cannon and Mark. I think Alex Smith was definitely my favorite one to meet, though, just because I watch all his stuff, and he's a fantastic gymnast. So.
All right. CJ, who'd you get to meet?
I didn't get to really meet anybody that cool, especially not Hunter McIntyre. I did get to meet him a couple weeks ago at the aerobic capacity course.
Oh, nice.
And he was super, like you said, he was super stand-up dude. But I was able to meet Amanda Goodman. She was, I think she made it to the games in 2014.
I heard you got a little selfie Snapchat with Amanda as well.
Yeah, I got a selfie with her. Just got to chat with her. She trains out at OPEX Fitness out in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. So I don't know how she fared in the pro division, but just the simple fact that she made it to the game multiple times. Just everybody's just super down to earth. I mean, that's really kind of my biggest takeaway. And just being able to see like Sam Benson and like Chris Herman, like just kind of again just in the midst, like they're just normal people. It's not like
All right. Darby, who'd you get to meet that you were starstruck by?
There were a lot of really, really cool people. Everyone always compliments my legs, but it was really fun seeing Danny Spiegel there.
Oh,
who,
yeah. Huge legs.
Like,
It's like,
I don't even compare, so it was just a lot of fun seeing
What
that.
was it, CJ? How big are his legs?
her legs are
No,
Like
How big are your legs?
like legit, both of those together. And it was just like, we talk about our times and that sort of thing. Like these guys do Fran in under 2 minutes, like on a daily basis. And seeing that caliber of athlete, I will say I got a selfie with Alessandra Picelli, who's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, sure.
She wasn't competing because of injury, but I mean, all of those, the work they put in and the just sheer capacity for work is mind-blowing.
So let's talk about the amount of work that gets put into something like this. After you all have been there, you've done it, you've seen it, what do you plan on incorporating in your training to help you prepare for next time?
Oh, man.
I would say for me, I'm honestly going to say more recovery. Like, I went in there fairly uninjured, but I don't think that people give that enough credit. You know, it's one thing to come in here for 2 or 3 hours and push and work hard, but if you're not giving your body time and the nutrients and the products it needs to fully build that muscle and keep going the next day, or taking that rest day when you need that rest day, listening to your body when it comes to that is probably my biggest takeaway, is making sure that, you know, I'm being smart about it.
I would say, especially just like what I've been learning over the last couple of months, for me personally, a lot of my biggest weakness is any type of longer workouts, longer AMRAPs, anything over 10 minutes, I tend to die. So it's just incorporating a lot more aerobic work, slow, very like what they call like type 1 muscle fiber, basically just super slow, rowing at like a 2:10 pace for like a long, like over 20 minutes, incorporating just lower intensity, but just accumulating a lot of volume at the lower intensity on the aerobic piece. So anything that's over, like a workout over 20, like the 14,000 meter row destroyed me. Whereas typically if it's something with a barbell or something where it's like gymnastics, I usually tend to feel a little bit better. But anything that's longer than 15 minutes, I usually die out. So
Okay.
I would like to point out, too, that we won that 14,000 meter row.
Yeah.
by 2 seconds. I was doing a lot of screen watching during that event.
Hey, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Yeah,
Vin Diesel
right.
said it.
I guess for me, it would be, well, leading up to the Granite Games, we started to do some more two-a-days on like Tuesdays and Thursdays and do some longer weekends with our team of 3 to kind of get ready. But for me, it'd be just something I saw at the games, like Brent Krakowski. I saw the guy he looked like awful, like he was about to die, but he didn't slow his pace. And Morgan talked to me about it probably 3 months ago, how, you know, he gets to that level of like the pain cave and it's just going to the dark place, and how he pushes it. And I've had the tendency to kind of feel bad for myself when I start to get tired and like run out of breath. I'm like, okay, screw it, I'm going to take a break here. But just trying to push through that, and, you know, I think that could help things get to the next level, because a lot of times, like I said, I just feel bad for myself when I take a break when I may not actually need one, and just push into the end of the workout when you know it's close.
For me, obviously working with heavier weights is something I need to work on, but more competitions, I think, would help a lot. Because one of the most surprising things was how nervous I got right before we walked out there.
For sure.
Like, could have thrown up almost every single event. 2 days before the event, couldn't have cared less. I was so chill, not nervous at all. 5 seconds before the event, was about ready to poop my pants. So, for sure.
So I guess what we can take from this is there's no, like, every single one of y'all has said something completely different. If I got them right, we got recovery and nutrition, mainly working on longer paced WODs. Brian, I thought yours was interesting, which is basically you just said pain cave. And then focusing on heavier weights and getting more into more competition so you get more comfortable.
Yeah.
So there's no one key to success here? Everybody has a different answer. Everybody's a different athlete. It depends on you and you only, right?
Right. That's one thing I did want to add to that is when I say like aerobic piece, it's not necessarily just for like the general like member here or just like anybody listening. It's basically like just by like understanding what your weaknesses is and basically like attacking it as best as you can, even if it's like outside of a class workout. Like if you come in earlier, stay a little bit later, and just work on even if it's like some accessory work. I know a lot of times I will program some grunt work. A lot of times, like I think it was Thursday, I did the grunt work just because I know it was like 100-meter run, and it was like a 100-meter run with the sample, with an 80-pound bag, and a 100-meter run, and rest for a minute. Like I did that because I know that's one of my biggest weaknesses. Is like that lower, even if, like just doing the work. It doesn't matter how intense it is or how like just doing it at a sustained pace because that's where I struggle.
So Darby, explain to people that do not know what grunt work is. What does BNA do with, what is grunt work? Is that your normal workout?
So our daily programming is meant to be hour long. You're in a class, you hit strength portion, a Metcon or metabolic conditioning. Typically is what the hour will be. Sometimes it's a much more strength focused day. Sometimes it's a much more Metcon focused day. And then kind of on your own, we have what's called that grunt work, which is where we try to attack weaknesses, whether it's aerobic capacity or some additional strength work. It's kind of on your own. The coaches are always there to help and do that sort of thing. But it is like, hey, if you're looking for that extra little bit, here it is. So
by raising your hand real fast, how many of you do the grunt work? Would you say the majority of the time? Raise your hand if you do grunt work.
Speaking to that, like I would just, I mean, back to the other question, I think it's really important just to trust the process. I mean, we use comp train here, and I don't think it's, a lot's going to be done being like, oh, I need to do 2 days, 3 days, make up my own stuff, and just hammer myself in the ground here. Like, it's not all about intensity all the time. It's just, workload, getting it done, and just, yeah, exactly.
And doing it well, too. Like, it doesn't have to be moving fast all the time, but if you're not moving well, you're not going to improve yourself, right, or you're going to hurt yourself. So,
well, I think we got the majority of the questions answered from everybody here at the gym and everybody that we've talked to online and everything. Just want to thank everybody from Team OPEC. CJ, thank you for being here. Darby, Brian, Morgan. We look forward to seeing how you all do. Apparently, there's a qualifier in September.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the final question that we'll have for today, do we plan on going to the qualifier and plan on going back?
I think for us, maybe we would try to do the online qualifier this time to see if we could go up to the RX or RX Plus division. Last year we did just the throwdown, and that qualifies you for the intermediate, but I think it'd be fun to see if we can get to the next level.
yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I would say it's all about timing right now, like figuring out Morgan just had a baby, so it's,
Not personally, but
well, no, he didn't have a baby, but
Kaylin did all the work.
yeah. So I mean, I honestly don't know for me. I love competitions. We'll definitely do some, but we'll play around for Granite games. So.
Well, we appreciate we appreciate the insight that you all have given us today. Any questions, feel free to just email us. You can reach us at info@crossfitbna.com for any information about the gym, our programming, or any questions you all might have for our competition team. But we thank you all for coming out and answering our questions, and hope to see you all at the next competition and do even better than you did already. Thank you all very much.